My name is Melanie McDonald. I'm the Director of Development for PWSA USA, but more importantly, I am a mom to Josephine, who is 5 years old and living with PWS. I'm excited to be here today with Dorothea Lance. Dorothea, you want to introduce yourself?
I will. I can't show my video right now, so sorry about that. There we go. Hi, guys. My name is Dorothea Lance. I'm the Director of Community Engagement with PWSA USA, and I have an amazing, beautiful, wonderful 6-year-old child who also has Prader-Willi syndrome. So we're excited about today.
Excellent. So the purpose of today's meeting is to share with you about our upcoming campaign called Walk a Mile in Their Genes. We launched this campaign for the first time last year, and it was very successful without a whole lot of promotion on our part, actually. And the focus of our Walk a Mile campaign is on raising much needed funds for our advocacy efforts, for which Dorothea is responsible. So I thought we would start by just having Dorothea outline for us what's happened in the world of PWS advocacy this past year and talk a little bit about what is on the horizon. For some of you who are already involved in our advocacy efforts, this is going to be a little bit of a review, but just bear with us. It's a lot of information, very helpful to understand as we go forward. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mel. So I know that the group we have here is pretty well aware of a lot of the advocacy efforts that we've been doing. 2023 was really a banner year for PWSA. We had the externally led patient-focused drug development meeting in conjunction with our national conference, which was absolutely amazing. We're working on the Voice of the Patient report that will be filed with the FDA first quarter of this year. We are very, very close to having a final draft. So it's extremely exciting that the FDA will now have additional guidance to use when they're evaluating therapies to treat PWS. So all of our voices have been heard, and which is really what we need so much within this community. But in addition to that, we have made some amazing connections in Washington, D.C., and then our advocates throughout the country have really taken up what has now been called the State Qualifier Initiative. That committee is actually led by Chrissy Burgstaller out of Arizona, who kind of was the first person who really spearheaded an initiative to have PWS added as a developmental disability in her state. And since then has put together an incredible committee. A few of you here are working on this in your state, where we have investigated different ways to have PWS recognized in different states because statutes are a little bit different in every state. And so we've gone from, having 14 states recognize PWS to an additional 17 states throughout the country who are looking for a way to add PWS as a developmental disability, just so our folks can get services faster. We've also been working on having PWS added to Social Security's list of compassionate allowances. Those of you who have adults with PWS know how complicated it can be when you're applying for Social Security as your child turns 18, and all of the boxes that you have to check. We want that step to be eliminated so that PWS is on that list, and parents can have it a little bit easier, guardians can have it a little bit easier, as they're moving forward through this journey. So it's really exciting. 2024, this is going to be our year. I mean, I know 23 was a banner year for us, but I think 24 is going to be even better. We have our next DC fly-in coming up this May, which filled up really fast. We had more applications than we could handle, and are making room for where we anticipated 100 attendees. It looks like we're going to be closer to 150 attendees from all over the country. So that is also very exciting. It will be a 3-day event rather than a 1 or 2-day event. And we are looking forward to having a whole new group of individuals who actually have PWS join us and have their voices heard, because so many of us as parents are the ones talking. But we are going to have most of the adult advisory board present this time, which is fantastic. And we have so many families that are bringing their loved ones with PWS. So a good percentage of the people who will be there actually are living with this disease, and will have an opportunity to share their voice. So many exciting things going on. I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to turn it back over to Melanie because I will take up all the time.
Oh, no worries. We're going to have plenty of time to cover everything we need to cover today. I guess what I would just ask, Dorothea, can you give us a sense of, what does all of this cost? Because, clearly we work very hard to get grants and to fundraise in the community, but we don't want to pass the cost of this along to our families. So we're working really hard to raise additional funds. Can you talk about what does it cost on average for a person to attend the DC fly-in as an example?
So yes, as an example of what it's costing us per person to attend the DC fly-in, it can run depending on we're looking at anywhere between $1,000 to $1,300 a person. So, while it's important that we're looking for grants and we're having opportunities to bring that extra money in, we want to make it easy for our families to also attend. So, in addition to that, what we're able to do this year as a result of what we were able to do last year is, and this hasn't really been announced yet, but also we are going to be able to give members of our community travel grants. So it's a huge expense when you think about 150 people, 160 people going to Washington, D.C. with those kinds of numbers per person. So it's not just that though, it expands to the folks who are doing the state advocacy work. And this is something that will be a first for PWSA, but we have so many people that are working on the state level. Some of these individuals have to drive 2 hours to get to their state capital. And when you're called the day before your bill is going to go up in committee and saying, hey, you just got put on the calendar, can you get somebody here tomorrow to testify? And you're jumping in the car and you're driving 300, 400 miles to get to the state capital to testify for 5 minutes. We want to be able to take this money and break it down so that we can give people the opportunity to do the state advocacy work that they're doing. It's extremely important. So really what this fundraiser is about, it's about you guys. It's about our advocates. It's about making sure that you all have the tools that you need and can get to the places that you need to go to do the advocacy work for our entire community.
Right. And the more people that we have participating in this fundraiser, we want to make sure that every state is represented in DC. We want to make sure that every state has a voice, an individual with PWS or a parent or caregiver from the community that can help to tell their story so that we can advance all of the things that need advancing to meet all of the unmet needs that our kiddos have. So that's basically the gist of why we're doing this. And this year, the hill is even steeper to climb. I mean, pun intended, because we're going to the hill, but we are looking to raise $50,000. Last year, we raised close to $25,000. So this year, we'd like to double that because we have more than double the amount of people attending the DC fly-in. And we would hate to triple. We would hate to have to turn someone away or to not have one of our states represented in these important conversations that we'll be having in DC. So that's the why. And of course, for each of us individually being connected to the community, we all have our why close to our hearts, and we're all motivated to get this done. So that's why it's awesome that you guys are here today. Thank you so much for making time. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a deep dive into our new platform that we have for peer-to-peer fundraising. I'm going to ask that just for the time being, you guys stay on mute just so we can hear without the echo. Are you all able to see the screen? You can say so in the chat if you are able to see it, hopefully. This is our page for the Walk a Mile in Their Jeans campaign. Again, we're using a play on word with jeans because we want to always be drawing attention to our rare community and the fact that this is a genetic disorder. So when you come to this page, which I'm going to also put the link in the chat comments for you. When you're coming to this page, which you don't have to go there now, I'll also send you an email later today with all of this kind of outlined for you. I want to just give you a tour of what you're looking at and what resources are available. And then Maggie has agreed to be our guinea pig, and I will unmute her in a little bit so that she can build a page with us live, and we'll be able to see, you know, how fast that can be. So when you get here, you'll see our lovely capital, our wonderful logo that was designed by the team. I've actually had somebody say to me, where can I get these sneakers? And you know, you can order custom sneakers. Maybe Dorothea puts that one in the chat. So here is a button, create your page. We'll be hitting that in a few minutes. Our progress meter, we haven't launched really publicly. We've only just started early this week to begin to make some staff pages and a couple of volunteer pages to test this out. This will be showing our progress, and then right below it, this purple bar here is going to be a live stream ticker of donations that are coming in. So as donations come in more of a flurry of activity, we're going to see, you know, Dorothea Lance donated $100. You know, whoever it is, their name will go across this purple ticker under recent donations. Again, in an effort to simplify, we just have 1, 2, 3. We want people to feel like this is easy, and that any obstacles that they might experience to building their page are either non-existent or can easily be removed. Here we have our search bar. So let's say you tell a friend about this and they land on this site and they want to support you. They could look up Dorothea's page and find it right here really quickly. So, you know, this is a way that if you're directing friends and family, you can send them this way, or if somebody happens upon it and remembers like, oh, Maggie said she had a page on this, let me find it so I can support her. That's our little search bar right there. That'll take you to those pages. For those of you that attended the 2022 DC fly-in, and I think a couple of you are on this call, you might remember this really great video that our marketing team put together afterwards, sort of celebrating all the great work that we did. We always want to have dynamic content on here so that you and all of the people that you are asking to support this initiative can experience it. So I'll just play a quick intro so you can get the feel of that, which is kind of fun.
Things we can do to directly impact our kids' lives outside of kind of day-to-day therapy and stuff like that. But today has given a whole bunch of people an opportunity to speak to their local representation, be it Congress people or senators, and advocate for a handful of things that have the potential to help our kids now and down the road.
People who have a commonality, who have a common goal, and have just a lot of passion about what they're interested in, especially with relation to your kids and your grandkids. When people band together, the potential is really powerful, and I saw that happen today.
So again, if people in your neighborhood, in your family, in your community want to know exactly what we're using this money for, it's a great way to say, literally, we're sending parents and grandparents and volunteers, you know, into the halls to meet with our elected officials, to engage with them about the things that matter most to our loved ones with PWS. So it gives them a great sense of what that looks like in action. And then, you know, we also have a great gallery of photos, Dorothea and other staff speaking at different events, people with their elected officials. Here's Senator Maggie Hassan from the state of New Hampshire. And you can just have a sense of how powerful this work is. Here's Justice. Everybody, of course, knows Justice and sees her speaking different places. And, you know, it's not just people speaking, it's people really getting things done. Here's a picture of Congressman Tonko from New York when we declared it our first PWS Awareness Day for the nation. So lots of great pictures. Added to this year, we have the option for those who want to incorporate a fitness goal, or maybe have a fitness competition. I could see like Georgia and Florida versus New Mexico. It's a great way to do that. So we have these leaderboards, which again, as more people volunteer to fundraise, there will be more names on this leaderboard and you'll be able to see different pages. So a few people, Sarah and Kat, have built pages, but they haven't yet uploaded their story or their picture yet. But everyone's already working on their pages, and there's a couple that are more complete. So I'm going to show you a page that's complete. And then I'm going to work with Maggie and we'll show you what it's like to build a page. So Elaine is also from New Hampshire, where I am, and this is her son James, who's 37, and she is a very active member of the advocacy work group, and she's been to DC with Dorothea, or with representing PWSA, at least 3 or 4 times. Dorothea?
I wouldn't be able to count. She's been I want to say I've been up there every other month for the past year and a half. She's been up there almost as much as I have. So.
Yeah. So it's great to have someone who is a parent to an adult with PWS tell the story. And I believe James has been or is going also with her on some of these trips. So it's really, really effective and powerful. And so here you can see, she wants to raise $1,500. A lot of people pick that number, 15 for the 15th chromosome. She just launched yesterday and she's 20% towards her goal. And then on the right here, underneath the donate button, you'll see a list of people who donated. Some people want to leave the amount off of the list, and some people want to remain anonymous, and we give them that flexibility here. Here, she has incorporated her own personal story, just a little bit about why she's doing this work and what it means to her in just a few sentences. She also posted a really great update yesterday, letting everyone know who visits her page, like, hey, I'm going to be representing PWSA at Rare Disease Week in February. So even though she'll probably also be going to the fly-in in May, she's not waiting till then to get things done. She's already going to be doing work just next month. So this is a great way to show the people that have donated to you and maybe might want to donate to you that you're really taking action and that their support can really help make a difference. So if somebody is on Elaine's page and they want to support her, they simply click donate right here. It will actually be faster when you do it. For some reason, whenever anyone on Zoom shares a screen, the speed seems to decrease dramatically. So just as an example, let's say I'm going to support Elaine's fundraiser and I'm going to give her $50. You'll see here, it gives the donor the option of covering the credit card fee for the charity. So this makes sure that all of the $50 gets all the way to PWSA. And you'll notice down here where it says 5%, it will change that in real time. So let's say I want to give her $100. I'll see exactly $5 is what it's going to cost. So then you continue here, and just like any other online transaction, it will prompt you for your basic information, your credit card, and you can also add a special message, which I think is awesome. You can say, go Elaine. You can say, so proud of you for doing all this important advocacy work. It even gives you like template messages that you can put in if you're not feeling particularly creative. I know for me, when I'm fundraising or I'm involved in a campaign and I've got friends and family that are rallying to support me, it makes me feel really great to hear their words and to see their excitement. You skip the message, and then again, just like any other credit card transaction, you would get to the screen. Everything is secure. We don't retain anyone's credit card information at the conclusion of the transaction. And then you automatically get a tax receipt if you're the donor. It's automated and sent to you through the system with PWSA USA's tax information. So that's sort of the overall tour of things. I'll show you one more thing and then we'll build a page with Maggie so you can see how fast it is. Up here on the home page, again, that's the page that I put inside the chat earlier. If you go up to Media Kit, there's a whole slew of tools that you can utilize. If you decide you want to have an in-person event to complement what you're doing online, there is a template for a flyer, for a letter. There are some social media tools that you can download that will give you like examples of what and how you could post on social media, what you could say, the types of things that you could hashtag, for example. So there's all kinds of tools here that you can utilize to be successful with your campaign. And we'll be adding to that as the campaign goes on, including, new different creative ways for you to be able to be successful. So I am going to go on here and I am going to have Maggie unmute and start her video and join me here. Hi, Maggie.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for agreeing to be our guinea pig. I know you just sent me that picture. I'm going to ask if you could email it to me. That would be awesome. Or if you can put it in the chat here. Otherwise, I'm in my other place. I can't access the image quite so easily. But so again, you're here. It's your first time. You've never done this before. It's helpful if you can find a digital image that you plan to use and maybe take a few minutes in advance and jot down, on paper or in a Word document, like this is my advocacy pitch. This is why this is important to me. This is why I feel the need to raise these funds. This is why I'm going to Washington. Really, just 3 or 4 sentences will usually do it just fine. So feel confident. It doesn't have to be a novel. You can just outline what you feel is important. So I'm going to pretend I'm Maggie. Maggie, I'm going to ask you to chime in when I get to things that I don't have memorized, like your email address and your,
Sure.
I think you're Maggie Andrews at.
Just Mag, no IE, just MAGG Andrews at Gmail.
We're going to make a crazy password because we learned the hard way the other day. I'm going to just make a password I'll show you when it's done. So you need to have at least 12 characters. I don't know if you want to jot that down, Maggie.
I think I'll remember that one.
Capital A, Access for Hope 2024 exclamation.
And you know it, and you know that's coming, of course.
I know that's coming. That will be on a different page. So it asks that you have at least 12 characters, uppercase, lowercase, numerical, symbol. I'm hoping this will work on the first try. Hot diggity. How about that, Dorothea? Maggie, what would you want to call your page?
Help Chris advocate for his friends. We'll start with that.
You can always change it later on.
Yes, yeah, we'll start with that.
How much do you think you might want to raise?
4,000.
I like it. Do you want to include a distance target? Are you a walker or runner?
So we are going to do
Jogger?
a mile. Or Chris is going to do a mile.
Chris is going to do a mile.
Chris and his New Mexico PWS buddies are going to do a mile.
Oh, together? Oh, that sounds sweet. That sounds like a great opportunity for some pictures.
Yeah.
So it says story here. And so I'm going to leave that blank and it should populate with our generic kind of fundraising blurb. And then you can go back in another time and update that exactly how you'd like. So when I click here on next personal details, that's where it's going to ask for your address.
Do you want it?
Yes, please.
2481 Manzano, Manzano Loop, Northeast. Oops. And then Rio, RIO, Rancho, RANCHO, New Mexico, 87144.
Excellent. So we go down here, we agree to all the terms. And just like that, we have created a page. Now, I didn't keep a timer for that, but I would say that was easily under 3 minutes page successfully created. I'm not going to save this because it's not my information. And now you can upload a picture, view your page. Let's look and see what it looks like now without the picture. So without the picture, we have a generic PWSA picture. If for some reason you didn't get a chance or couldn't figure out how to upload your picture or didn't want to upload a picture, it's okay. We've got one here. And then the story. This is the general story that just says, hey, PWSA is working to do this, and here's why. And you can go in and change that just by clicking edit page.
Melanie, I have a question about the story.
Yes.
So obviously I like to talk, which everybody knows. Is there an opportunity for someone to upload a video to tell their story, or a video somewhere on their page?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Show me.
Hold on. So it does that the first time. It just wants to, oh, wrong password. AX.
Oh, wait, my email's incorrect.
Oh,
So there's an S at, there you go. Perfect.
sorry about that. So here we have the chance to edit the page. We can save the story as it is. We can add to it, take away, bold, list bullets if we want to. You can talk about throughout the course of this fundraiser, Chris will be working with his friends and siblings to do a mile. Whatever else you would like to say, you can change the title at any time. And that's all living here. So you have, I'm going to get to your question, Dorothea. Don't let me forget. I just want to go through all of these tabs. So you have the view tab, which is just, this is how everybody else sees your page. It's almost like a preview tab for yourself. Right? If you go back to edit, you have your edit button that we were just on where you can change all of these different things. You have your media tab, which is where you could upload your media. You can change your cover photo. You can add a gallery of photos. There's a live stream setting that is not yet activated, but you can also embed a link to a video inside your story. So if you go back here under edit, if you have a video that's on YouTube or somewhere else, you can include a link to that video in here. The last tab you have after media is donations. That's just basically a reporting function for yourself. If for some reason somebody hands you a check and you mail that check to us at PWSA, like, you know, I have an aunt who never in a million years would want to pay with anything with her credit card online, so she's going to hand me a check for my fundraiser. You can come over here and add that amount offline as a donation. Or you can let us do it when the check comes in the mail. And then here is settings, which is another place that has some tools and resources. This basically just says, even though the campaign is going to end in March, on March 18th, if somebody were to find this link and try to donate, we will still accept their donation through 2029.
Hey, Mel,
we're not going to turn it away. Yes.
Mel, can you scroll down to the QR code? Because I think this is like one of my favorite parts.
Yeah. So another thing right here really quick is you can customize a personal message that will be included, embedded inside the tax receipt. So even though they're going to get something from us that says PWSA thanks you for making a donation of this amount on this day for this purpose, you can come on here and say, what, you know, on behalf of me and Chris and our whole family, you know, we want you to know how much we appreciate it. And you can save that message and it will go on as well. So it used to be that if you had a fundraising page for PWSA and you wanted a QR code, because why wouldn't you, right? We used to have to do that ourselves for you and then send it to you, and it could take a day, maybe more. This automatically generates your own custom QR code. You can put this in a letter that you mail out to friends and family, or give to neighbors, or give hand out at the school pickup line. You can put this on your social. You can have a big sticker made and put it on your car. There's all different kinds of things that you can do with a QR code that will, you know, expedite people making donations. Is there anything else you wanted me to say about the QR code, Dorothea? I know it's your favorite. So here's where you could create a team. So let's say Maggie is going to do this and she's going to start a team, and she wants to join forces with Colorado. Of course, you would want to have a conversation in advance with Kat. You'd want to give your team a name, and then eventually, as teammates, as people who have pages, you can mutually agree to link up as a part of this process. So while we aren't like super advertising that teams are possible, we certainly don't want to step in the way if anybody feels particularly jazzed about having a team. Lastly, a button I hope you don't ever need to use: if something goes wrong or you have a reason that you need to cancel your page, goodness, I hope you would call us first and ask for our help if you were frustrated or needed some support. But there is a big red button here also inside your participant center where you can just cancel your page altogether. So that is the behind the scenes tour. It's very easy. There's more bells and whistles and features than there were in our former platform. And so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and unmute anybody who who wants to ask a question, or anyone who wants to be on video. Everyone can join us, and that way, you know, anyone can ask whatever questions they have. If you would like to stay muted, please feel free. Otherwise, I'm going to go in here and just ask everybody to unmute. Feel free to stay off video if that's what's more comfortable for you. But, you know, as PWS tribe members, we don't often get to see each other's faces. So it's always good to see all of our friends. Thanks again, Maggie, for being such a good sport with all of this. Hopefully you can take time in the next day or two to go in and make it your own, upload the picture. Oh, you just, Dorothea.
Did you just get it?
Oh, no, I just, oh, it looks like there's a donation in Maggie's page. The one more thing I totally forgot to mention: if you are a real fitness buff and you are a walker, a runner, a cycler, and you track your activity with Strava, which is an app for tracking activity for people who do walk and run and jog, you can actually automate the tracking of your activity and integrate that into your app. Otherwise, you might have to go in here where it says log distance. Clicking on Maggie's page, you could be like, hey, you know what? Today he did 10 minutes, and we're not going to put the 1 mile in there until we've reached the mile, or whatever it is. You can even add video of him doing his mile up here. You can add these updates, pictures and videos whenever you want. And it's very intuitive, very straightforward. So I did want to mention that as well, since that's new. So congratulations on your first donation, Maggie.
Thanks.
That was fast.
So I do have a question, if you don't mind me asking.
Absolutely. Go right
So
ahead.
I know you have I think you called it the media kit, where it has the letters and the different things. Last year, I can't remember if it was for this fundraiser, but you guys had yard signs. Will we have access to those again?
Yep. We have them from last year, and they have last year's QR code on them. So Carrie is in the process of taking the QR code off and making them bare so that you on your own could add your QR code for your particular page, you know, to that. So if you did want to have an in-person walk, or you wanted to have some of those signs printed just to have them for your family in your neighborhood or whatever, you can absolutely use those. So we're hoping that by this time next week, those will be up there. But we just have to take the QR codes off. Absolutely.
I have so the short answer is yes.
Yes. I don't know how to give a short answer. Sorry. Yes, Annie.
It's just kind of more, maybe more of a philosophical question,
Yeah.
but like the donation amount or the donation goal, like how do you determine that? Like, do you want to shoot for, imagine like you want to shoot for higher than what you're looking for, but you don't want to go so high. People are like, do people feel like they can't reach it, so they're not going to
So,
donate? Is there like a sweet spot of
so I'm
inspiring
going to tell you
people?
a story really quickly of a young man named
Mhm.
Joe Gill
Joe
who
Gill.
decided, a young man in his 20s who is a big brother to Gavin with PWS, who was turning 16 at the time. And he said, you know, I'm running the Boston Marathon this year, and I would really like people to donate to PWSA in honor of my brother's birthday. So he made a goal of $1,600 was his first goal for his brother's 16th birthday. Well, in a day, he got to almost $4,000. And he was like, I don't know what to do. And so we kept having to increase to the point where at the end he raised close to $40,000 in 6 weeks time. So not to say that everyone here is going to do that, although that would be fantastic. But I always feel like it's better to aim a little high
Yeah.
and to fall a little short than it is to be super conservative and then reach your goal. And then there's not a lot of reason for people to support you. You can only increase your goal so many times before people start to say like, what's going what's going on here? But I
Well,
think 1,500 is a great place to start if you've never done this before. 15 for the 15th chromosome. I know Kat Lucero, her son Ronan is turning 6. So she made a goal of $6,000. I think she raised close to 3,000 last year. So I think it really depends on who your network of friends and family are, who you're going to ask, and what you think their capacity to support you is. But I feel like it's like 1,500 is a pretty safe starter goal if you've not done this before, if that's a help to you, Annie.
Yeah. Thank you.
But the sky's the limit. You never know.
oh, and sometimes we have people who say, hey, they step up and say, I'll match whatever it is that you're raising. So if you say if your goal is 1,500, there are people out there. This happened to me. It was the year before last, before we had this amazing platform. And so for every, I can't remember what it was, but for every 100 or every $500 I raised, I did something stupid. And the honey
Poured
pour,
honey over your head.
the honey pour was definitely the fan favorite. But I had one of the affordable housing developers down here in South Florida come to the table and said, okay, I will match you for this. And it was amazing. So, and then sometimes you have, if you set your goal and you get really close to it, you'll have somebody who will come in and say, okay, you know what, I'm just going to help them get to that goal. People will surprise you. They always do.
I've had people come out of the woodwork. I do a fundraiser like this every year for my birthday, and I usually raise like $3,000 or $4,000. And sometimes it's people from college that I haven't seen since my wedding, or it's you know friends from other jobs I've had. You'd be surprised how your story can move people and can inspire generosity in ways that you would not have anticipated. And that's what peer-to-peer fundraising is about. It's not the same as us sending a direct mail solicitation to 20,000 people. This is people that only you can help us to reach with your story. And that's how we hope to kind of get to this goal.
And if we start with a small goal and we exceed the system will still accept the donation, right?
Oh, absolutely. You can surpass your goal and you can change your goal at any time. Let's say you start with a really high goal because you're feeling really positive out of the gate, and then, something happens and you just don't have the time that you thought you might have to give to it. You could always, reduce your goal so that you can have that feeling of achieving your goal. But it's a very flexible platform, and it's really designed to help you tell your story. And to help you share that story. Here, everywhere you go, there's going to be a share button. If I click on this share button, it's going to say, do I want to send an email? Do I want to share this to Facebook? You can send an email with this URL inside it. I have family and friends who don't do social media who will only respond to an email. So there's all kinds of ways that this platform is really designed. You can say here, here's a picture of Chris on our walk today, that, the sun was shining. It was such a nice time. And people will pay attention. to those updates or videos or pictures. So, yeah. So we have a few more minutes. If there's other questions, we're happy to answer, but you'll be getting an email within the next 24 hours that kind of reiterates what we went over and gives you some reminders on what the easy first steps are as far as setting up your page. And then of course, Dorothea and I are always here for you and happy to troubleshoot with you if you're having some issues or need some encouragement. I'll be sending an email probably once every week or so, just letting you know, like, oh, there's some, the lawn signs are up in the media kit, or, oh, there's a new tool, that's available for you, so that you can feel like you're connected to everyone. And then in the Pulse, we'll be sharing out, at least every 2 weeks, we'll be sharing the leaderboard. So everybody in the community will see who's getting things done in fitness and fundraising for PWSA USA.
Melanie, I have a question about the leaderboard. So if people put together teams, right? So let's say Florida and Georgia join arms and we're like, we're going to take this. Will that leaderboard show an actual like person's campaign, or will it show like team FG or something?
So you would be giving your team a name.
Okay.
And then I can add to this page, or Carrie can add to this page, another section or compartment that says team leaderboard. But right now there's no teams. So if I had a leaderboard that said teams leaderboard, nothing would populate and it would look kind of funny. But if you tell me that you've formed a team, Maggie.
Like, we would be number one.
Yes. If you
all right, game on, Maggie.
Form a team, I would love to see Florida and Georgia versus Colorado and New Mexico. I think it would be pretty epic. But yeah, and maybe if the teams take off, maybe next year we can have some sort of like prize, like the team, the region that raises the most money gets, a free registration for next convention or something like that. So we'll see what we can cook up to entice people to form teams next year. But this year we didn't want to, it's a new platform. We didn't want to pressure anybody, but I'm happy to have you guys become a team. I think it would be fun to see that competition.
We might need some real axes when it's done.
You're gonna throw down. Absolutely.
I do have one quick question. I think you said the fundraiser will last until March 18th.
March 18th.
Okay, because I do want to do an in-person event, so maybe we'll do it like 2 weeks before the end date, or I don't know. When do you think
you could do it on Rare Disease Day, which is the end of February? That's a fun day to do stuff on. Have everybody wear their stripes.
That's a great idea.
And a bunch of us are going to be in DC for Rare Disease Week, so that would be amazing. And although I'm doing my own little fundraiser, and we're going to team up, and some of us are going to not be so happy about it, but it would be nice to be able to be in DC talking about what you guys are doing on Rare Disease Day.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be a great spotlight on hope to show, how your community or how your family is rallying people and raising money and awareness for that. That would be fun, right, Annie?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? And Maggie, if you want to stay on after I stop the recording, I will talk with you a little bit about Access for Hope, or unless you want to do that another day. But any other questions about this campaign or this platform particularly? No? Okay. Well, like I said, thank you so much, everybody, for making time. And Dorothea and I will be getting an email out to everyone, probably before end of day today or first thing tomorrow, just reiterating everything and showing you all the links that you need to gain access to the platform to make your page. If at any time you encounter any difficulty, please reach out to us and let us know so we can help you be successful. And we look forward to a very robust campaign, gathering lots of resources so we can make more advocacy happen in 2024.